Welcome to a brand new Five Heart Podcast live on a Thursday night on across all of Core Nation's fantastic platforms. So you may be seeing us on YouTube, you may be seeing us on Facebook, you may be seeing us on X. I'm your host, Greg Mahachko, and joining me, as always, is my great friend and fellow Husker fan, Minnie Hunt. How are you doing today, Minnie?
I am good. How are you?
Awesome.
I've been having problems with my computer lately. It is freaking me out. It has a mind of its own.
It's going to be a short show tonight, everybody.
I can't see any comments now.
Did you hide the comments tab?
No.
Okay.
I don't know what I did. It's my mouse. The mouse is not working.
Yeah, put that mouse back to work.
Oh, there it goes. They appeared. Hello. Hello, everyone.
So in the chat earlier, James Borman made his presence known. Roger Moore, Justin Raji, Vince Watson, Fred Sacco, I guess we're using first and last names. Perpetually Indignant. We have from Pag Voop, we have a Go Big Red.
Nice. Go Big Red.
We appreciate the additional comments. A lot of people just throw them all in. Like, look, Raji just says GBR. Not only does he not spell them out, he doesn't put them in three different comments. He just GBR. Do better, Justin. And yes, Perpetually says Skynet has become self-aware. It has. I'm worried about Skynet. Every time I have to ask AI to do anything, I say please and thank you because don't do it, Justin.
Oh.
He's gonna start.
Go. Wait, what does Stella say?
Who? I say go, you say Big Red.
Yeah, that's right. I love that cheer.
Michael Hassman says, how long have you all been going? I just got here. 3 minutes and 16 seconds, so 3:16. And Greg 3:16 says, we're damn glad you're here, Michael.
Oh my gosh. You're talking about yourself in the third person now?
No, that was just for fun. Do you know what Austin 3:16 says, Minnie?
What?
Austin 3:16 says, I just whooped your ass.
Okay.
There are going to be a few people in the comments who understand what's
going on. Is this a WWE thing?
Technically, at the time, it was a WWF thing.
WWF. The World Wrestling Federation, right?
That's what it was. I mean, now WWF is the World Wildlife Foundation. It's a whole big thing. I don't like to talk about it.
Oh, you don't like to talk about it? Okay.
Brad
is because this is a Husker show.
Brad from Beatrice, the 1980s student manager. Good to have you back, Brad.
Oh, cool. Welcome, Brad.
And let's see. Fred Sacco says, Fred 3:16 says, Frost still is a coward.
I know what he's talking about.
I know what he's talking about, too. I don't know if we're going to we may touch on that.
I think we should. I think we should just get it out of the way.
Should we wait till more people are here?
I mean, they know what time we start. It's not my fault if they show up late.
Living in Omaha, David Matney, the official realtor of the Five Heart Podcast, says good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
If we're starting the show off with this, I know I'm already going to be in a bad mood, which is great because the topic tonight is all about hate.
You know what? I almost wore my no hate t-shirt for tonight.
That would have put you in a bad spot, I'm afraid.
Yeah, because then I couldn't talk crap about anybody.
So let's go ahead and talk about it then, I suppose.
Okay, so Scott Frost was quoted.
That Jezebel.
Quoted as saying, what'd you learn about your time at Nebraska? Basically, was the question. His quote was, don't take the wrong job. Yes? And we don't know if it was taken out of context. We don't know because we looked and looked and looked for the audio. Couldn't find it. Right?
But it was in apparently it was in an interview with The Athletic.
Yes.
Which I don't pay for The Athletic, so maybe some of you all out there do and know what I'm talking about.
So don't take the wrong job. Like he was forced to take the job at Nebraska.
Oh, Eric Strickland on 93.7 The Ticket lit his ass up. Now, Frosty Frost won't care because he's making money. He's in Orlando.
Yep.
Home for him and his wife and their family, and more power to him. But again, and here's the thing. So I'm as pissed off as I am about the answer, because it would have just been super simple to say,
Greg,
no comment.
You're wearing the Yingling shirt.
I am.
Oh, very nice. It does fit you.
It does. Thank you.
No, thank you.
I think I'm equally pissed at the bullshit fucking writers who are asking questions for clickbait.
Yes. Okay.
Because that's all it was.
That's
all when I don't know the writer of the article, but all he did was knew that he was serving up rage on a silver platter to Husker Nation. And that's some Bush League bullshit.
I mean, I agree. I don't think you should, but he knew what he was doing.
The writer?
That's their job. That's kind of their job.
Of course. He gets paid by the clicks, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Fred knows. Fred, I'm concerned when we think so much alike.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if you're sitting in on Monday night so much, pretty soon Minnie's not going to be able to tell us apart. So.
No, he's prepared. That's the difference.
Hey.
What?
Anyway, Fred says the clickbait writers are to blame. They knew what this would cause. Yeah. And Raji says, from another perspective, again, not wrong, but why wouldn't he be asked about it? Frost should know how to answer it. Again, and Raji says it's all on Frost.
You know what? 100%, and I'll tell you why. Because somebody should have said, tap, 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 tap on the shoulder to Scott Frost while he was head coach here. You don't know how to speak to the media. You might need some help. And obviously, he still hasn't learned. You can't say negative things because now you have a whole fan base. Even me, I was not, I always try to defend him, but this is indefensible.
Kaylee says it's aggressive journalism meets poor interview skills. This is how headlines are made. And again, I'll tell you what he hasn't learned is how to take the podium. I sat there and watched his Big 12 Media Day presser or whatever. He was fine. I think he I don't even know if they asked him any questions about Nebraska. So again, you got to have just a little sniveling, conniving, bullshit, dirt sheet reporter to step up and ask that question. It's in the past, man. Like, Nebraska's moved on. We're happy. He's moved on. He's apparently happy. Why do we have to keep dredging up old shit? Just stop.
He did say in one of the interviews that I saw, I took down notes. Let's see. He said, quote, "I don't want to talk about them and those guys," when asked about Nebraska. So I think he gets asked every single time he has any kind of interview.
And for better or worse, for him, it's going to follow him around until he quits, gets fired at UCF. You know, it's just, or I mean, I don't know how. It's just always going to be part of part of his, not his byline, but it's always going to be on his Wikipedia page, I suppose. I don't know. I didn't like the way he answered the question. I didn't like the fact that the question. You don't need to ask that question. James says it was a fair question. What did you learn from your time at Nebraska? Frost failed in his answer. Why even ask the question? Except let's rile up. You know, there aren't enough UCF fans who are buying our shit, so let's rile up the Nebraska fans for their clicks and their subscriptions. That's all it was. It was dirty. It is. You know what? There used to be a phrase for bullshit journalism. It was called yellow journalism. Now it's just clickbait journalism and headlines, and it's.
This is actually, could this be? Okay, just play along, Greg. Play along with the scenario. He did say in one of his interviews that UCF, what it lacks is support, booster support, and a lot of support because they're kind of young in the Big 12 and they have a younger fan base. Could it be that he's trying to gain support for UCF by making it us versus them?
I'll say this.
I'm not part of Nebraska anymore. See?
If you ever want to find out how the us versus the world mentality works, look at the nosedive that was Bo Pelini's tenure at Nebraska. Because that was the culture and the focus, the mindset that he had his players in. And yeah, his players would come out and say that they'd run through a brick wall for Bo, and then they would roll over and let a team score 60 points on them. I think that's a bullshit mentality of us versus the world. And you know, if that's the culture that he's trying to create at UCF, then he probably won't last there any longer than he lasted at Nebraska.
Well, he has what? 2 more years. Didn't he have 3 years at UCF?
I meant I should say this tenure.
Okay.
Like this time around. Kaylee says, any chance we schedule a non-conference with UCF TV?
I love that idea. I think the TV people should be right on that. That is a great idea, Kaylee. I second that motion.
Let's see. Vince, I don't disagree. Why does it matter? He's living rent-free in mine. Just move on. I don't disagree. But at the same time, it got brought up. It's our job to we pull, not pull, but we bring in questions and comments and things like that from you, the Holger Maniacs, the third member of this show all the time. So I felt it was fair to at least address it early. So did Minnie. I was okay waiting until later, but now I'm all fired up. So
Haas says Frost is still the same. I can't use those words.
Candy ass.
You can finish.
Nope.
Please.
No, I said the words you didn't want to say.
That he was back in the mid-90s. I said he wasn't ready back in 2017, and his regressive maturity is still on display for the world to see.
I mean, Haas, we were also the guys that said when he was hired, like, 2021 national championship's going to be New Orleans road trip when Nebraska goes to the national championship. So, but yeah, you were definitely more on the hesitant wait and see. And I was dumb, wide-eyed and excited. So.
I do like what Brad says too. He says you would think he would want the focus on UCF football and try and get Nebraska fans behind him, but I guess not. I think that would have been a great plan. talk. I mean, he did talk kindly about Tom Osborne. Could you imagine if he didn't?
Oh,
It'd
first
be
of all,
way worse.
he would lose any shred of credibility he had left. That makes it like, and he spoke highly of Frank Solich. Those make sense. Like he's not, he said he thought that Frank should have had more time. I think with the benefit of hindsight, I think most of us agree, even probably those of who were old enough to understand the goings on of college football when it happened. We're probably like, no, he just won 9-10 games. Like, what are we doing? But that was a Steve Peterson mistake, and Steve Peterson was quickly also run out of town on a rail. So, I mean, all we can do is, and I guess again, I'm guilty for feeding into this. All I can do is look forward. We'll talk about it if you guys want to talk about it, but
I don't know. I haven't talked about it enough, I feel like.
Okay.
Because I always get behind him.
Why?
I just think if you're going to say, I don't think you. This is the equivalent in the corporate world to burning bridges, right? You can't do that. You shouldn't do that.
But he's done it. So why still root for him?
I know, obviously.
Okay. So you're done rooting for him?
I don't know. I think he tries. He tries not to put his foot in his mouth.
The only way the man could stop from putting his foot in his mouth is to cut off his foot. Or sew his mouth shut. He's, like I said, the one thing he didn't learn in his time away from football, his time with the Rams, was just how to not be a dumbass at the podium. That's all you got to do, But whatever.
Yes. Whatever. We keep rolling.
Just like Limp Bizkit.
Limp Bizkit?
We keep rolling. By the way, Pitt, if you're out there, I thought I saw you out there, award 5 Pitt points to the first person who in the comments correctly identifies the name of the album, the Limp Bizkit album that the song Rollin' appeared on. It was their third album.
There's another Haas comment.
Okay.
Can you click on that?
Yes, he was paid $35 million, and he acts like he was kidnapped from Orlando to Lincoln. He's a petulant man-child. As a coach, I can't stand him. As a person, I hope he finds his way again. And I think that's what Eric Strickland said, is that he acted like he was dragged to Lincoln ball and chain, and that's not the case. Like he made the choice to come home, get the money, get the payday, get the moment, get after that opening press conference, that welcome press conference, go back to the room, have so many of his old teammates and Husker legends all rallying him around him. He got a very nice payday for not a whole lot. Like, I wish somebody would pay me $35 million to fuck up that much. I take a fraction. Give me a tenth.
What are the taxes on $35 million?
Married filing jointly.
I think they have
at the federal level, it's like 34%, I think. 38%, something like that.
So he walks away with what? 20? I'm guessing. I can't do math this late at night. I can't do math ever. Okay, so enough. Somewhere in that contract, it definitely should have said, keep Nebraska out of your mouth.
So I may be wrong on the federal tax brackets. I want to say it's 38% at that amount. Of the $35,000, he paid 13.3 approximately in taxes. So Uncle Sam got rich too on his fucking ignorance. Think about that.
Greg. I don't think my kids are asleep yet. So
Okay. Uncle Sam made bank on Scott Frost's ignorance and negligence.
okay.
Who do y'all like at the IRS so much that you want them to receive 38% of anybody's income? That's what I want to know.
Well, I'm sure he had a lot of write-offs.
Pitt. Yeah. You'll have to let me know who gets it right. I believe it was our friend, perpetually indignant, aka Mr. Keene, who gets the points tonight.
What is it?
The name of the album by Limp Bizkit was Chocolate Starfish and the Hot Dog Flavored Water.
Oh, that sounds disgusting.
Well, if you're thinking about it as food, you're right.
What else would it be?
I can't share that on air. I'll have to. Don't Google it.
Why?
You're not going to want to Google chocolate starfish.
Okay.
Haas says, one more for the road regarding Frost. He damn near backed out the Friday night before, and Moose would have hired Justin Fuente if that had happened.
Oh.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure again, there was some pressure, certainly, to take the job. Anyway.
Okay. Well, Greg, should we move on to the topic for tonight, or do you want to discuss what you were drinking?
Yes, I've already cracked. I haven't even had a sip of it yet. Going back to some of the selections from last week, I didn't open it up to the comments this time around, but I do have that Dogfish Head, the Sea Quench Ale, which is blurry now. Ale with lime, and this is a delightful 4.5% alcohol by volume. So,
How many?
4.5.
Hmm.
Ooh, that's quite tart.
How come we didn't get your song? Not that I'm complaining. I'm not complaining. Did you forget?
No, I was. Tonight's gonna be a fun, anger-filled episode.
Uh-oh.
Because we're talking about our most hated teams in the Big Ten Conference.
So no singing, no dancing, no five-heart theater.
There's not going to be any dancing, no five-heart theater. And if they're singing, it's probably going to be something angry.
So there will be cussing tonight.
There's already been cussing tonight.
All right.
There's probably going to be more.
Here we go.
All right. Thank you, Blaine, Greg, and Tart.
Match made in heaven. That's cute.
Haas says Greg hates Illinois but loves Brett. You know damn well that's not true, Haas. Except I do appreciate the very large shadow he casts when he stands out in the sun.
Okay.
You sit in the shade all day long.
I think Brett Bielema is a great coach.
You need to go back and watch some Nebraska, Wisconsin prior to his departure for Arkansas. He's a horrible person.
Is he a horrible person? What did he say about Nebraska?
No, he's just. I want to let you go look that up. He's just a horrible person.
Horrible?
Yeah, I don't care for him.
He's head of the Big Ten head coaches chat.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like a horrible person to me.
No, I mean, he's horrible.
Horrible?
Yeah. There's nothing. There's nothing redeemable about Bert Bielema.
But he's a good coach with very little to work with.
Kaylee says, I think I just threw up in my mouth a bit.
I'm sorry, Kaylee.
You actually picked. We were in our pre-production meeting earlier today, and you said you want Illinois to win it all this year.
Greg? I said, you better not say what I said. Mm. Mm.
Everybody,
I did say it. I did say it because
your
Illinois has
co-host.
Illinois has the most returners in the Big Ten. I know. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean it. Teach me, people. Teach me to hate.
Austin's not wrong. Champagne's such a small place. When Bielema moved in, it almost tipped over. And Fred says, "Get her, Manny, get her." Yeah, because what Illinois is, what they're in the preseason top 15, or what does your Phil Steele or whatever book say?
Let's just see what it says about Illinois.
Well, we can do it with that.
He has them as number 5 behind Penn State, Ohio State, Oregon, and Michigan.
In that order, or Penn State first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brad says, Minnie, you need to learn some arrogance.
It's going to be very difficult for me to learn how to be arrogant as a fan. I mean, you guys know what I've had to work with.
She's a newbie.
Yeah. So, 10 years. I'm only 10 years old.
Fred says Illinois. Pitt says Greg's inventing reasons for hate. Bert's the best thing to happen to the Big Ten since we arrived. Stop that.
Oh.
Pitt, deduct 10 points. Deduct 10 points, Pitt. And Braska Rascal says, Jesus, Minnie. That's what it sounded like.
I'm sorry. I let everyone down. Okay.
So, this would be, I suppose, where we open things up to the commenters for your 5 teams that you hate the most in the Big Ten.
Okay.
While we do that,
I wonder if they should. I mean, since I'm the newbie, do you think that they would get the ones that I hate the most?
I'm not even comfortable with the fact that you used air quotes. Like, if there's no actual venom dripping, then what is the point? Why are we even having this conversation?
I know.
I can move on to the next topic if we have to.
Okay. Never mind.
So are you going to give some?
Okay. I do have one. Haas says, I love this. I wish Haas was actually here to say it. Like, because I can just hear him saying his comment.
This one?
Yes.
Number 1. This is not a Haas impression. Sorry, Haas. Hold on. Let me see if I get it.
Yes. Here we go.
Number 1.
Wait, let me do a Haas impression. No, you can do it. I don't.
Number 2, Iowa. Number 3, Iowa. Number 4, Wisconsin. Number 5, all of East Lansing.
That was actually really good.
Let's see. Living in Omaha, David Matney, the official realtor of the 5 Heart Podcast, says, first we apologize for SF, then we remove 5 Heart from the show notes. Now, Illinois, how much betrayal can we take? I feel like I've been stabbed in the heart.
Oh.
The 5 Heart, Mr. Matney, am I right? Oh, my gosh.
Betrayal. I'm not betraying anyone.
At 2, Minnie. I don't know if you are familiar with that reference.
Mm-mm.
Really? Julius Caesar, the famous William Shakespeare play, Et tu, Brute, and you also,
And
Brutus.
you, yes.
Yeah. Et tu, Minnie. The betrayal. No. You know, can I get mildly theological tonight?
Oh, come on.
Okay, never mind.
If you do it in your Haas impression, sure.
Yes, Joe, we received it, and thank you very much. All right, let me. I'm still here. Don't mind me. Am I still here?
You're still here.
All right, just making sure because something fell on the floor. So I had to make sure. All right, let's see here. No, he's a snapback man. All right, let's go back to the snapback. So this is both classic literature and theology. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with Dante's Inferno?
Mm-hmm.
You are.
Yes.
It tells a story of Virgil, the ancient poet, guiding Dante through the multiple layers of hell, eventually to purgatory, and then eventually ascending to paradise. We always envision hell as being very fiery and heated, but the deepest, furthest circle of hell, in that Satan is trapped in ice, and he's trapped in ice alongside Judas Iscariot, and I believe Brutus, from again that classic Ides of March, Julius Caesar, Roman moment. And the reason they're trapped in ice is because it is said that in the furthest circle of hell is the furthest place from God's warmth, right?
Uh-huh.
And so that's why it's ice. This type of betrayal, Minnie.
Wait. Hold on 1 second.
This type of betrayal almost lands you in that furthest circle. What we have done now, I guess Mr. Matney can be pleased that we have provided some element of the Five Heart Theater tonight. It will take much more than that to make up for the betrayal of you saying that you want Illinois to win it all. Not just the conference, but the whole shooting match.
What?
Which is what you
not
said.
The same. Not even close.
You said you want Illinois to win it all.
Guys, let's just calm down. Take a breather, okay? Gather ourselves. What I meant is I don't want Michigan or Ohio State to win. I'd rather have Illinois, somebody coming up, clawing their way to the top. If that makes sense, okay? A Cinderella story. That's what I would like. I would rather it be Nebraska, of course.
If you're looking for a pure Cinderella story, then you can't pick the team that's scheduled to slated to finish in the top third of the conference. Like you'd have to go with
Illinois.
You'd have to go with like a Purdue or a.
Oh, give me a break. They're at the very bottom.
I'm saying.
No. Don't read that comment. Don't.
Oh, which one?
I don't know.
I'm very behind on comments.
Okay.
Haas, appreciate the vote of confidence. I don't think Katie will ever confuse me for you, so you're welcome. Says, well done, Greg. In all honesty, number 1 is Iowa, 2 Wisconsin, 3 Minnesota, 4 Michigan, 5 Ohio State. Michael says 1 Wisconsin, 2 Iowa, 3 Penn State. Everyone else is far behind.
Wow.
I wasn't sure I was ready for Penn State to be all the way up there.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that one either. I don't have Penn State on my list. Greg?
Yeah, sorry, I'm catching. I've been very active, and I'm getting caught up on all the comments, so I apologize.
All right.
Kaylee said, "Remember when Minnie started the show without you and said maybe we don't actually need him?"
Nice, Kaylee. Nice.
I'm not sure. Are you saying that she was accurate or she was not accurate? This is
what she's saying is obviously we need you.
I don't know.
Or they think they need you.
What's in your goblet? Is it Dylan Sweat mixed with Boone's Farm and Axe body spray?
Yes, it is. No, it's I have probably just a little bit more left of my Walgreens clearance wine. Just about finished.
Nebraska strong mini hunt. The fireworks are my favorite Nebraska play.
That was the comment. I said, don't read that.
I'll put that one for. That's a good comment, Other Dave. I'm going to save that one for later, so please stick around. Joe says Cinderella would be Rutgers or the Turtles. So Rutgers or Maryland.
No, they have no chance. Somebody who actually has a chance.
That's the whole point of Cinderella, is to not have a chance, not be expected.
Okay. I think it's more like middle of the road Big Ten team is what I was thinking of. Somebody who actually does kind of have a chance.
Fred says number 1, Penn State, number 2, Michigan, 3, Ohio State, 4, Wisconsin, 5, Iowa. Penn State first because of their scandal and subsequent denial and resurgence. Brad says, I'm just tired of being disrespected by the conference, even in sports like volleyball where we excel. Let's see.
I am too. I'm tired of being disrespected by all college football fans. Even ones that are like worse than us.
I mean, there's the sentiment of like you have to earn it. I know Haas has said numerous times on the show, in your go in the archive. I can't tell you the exact episode, but he probably could, honestly. Talking about getting your ass handed to you, and mercy rule and things like that. He's like, no, if you don't want them to run up the score on you, then you have to stop them.
Mm-hmm.
And
I do like that. I think it was Every Game Jake who said that in one of your guys's. Okay. Well, he also said it.
This is going way back in Five Heart lore.
Okay. This is just last season I'm referring to.
Okay.
Every Game Jake said something along the lines of that. And I was like, yeah, get him, tear him apart. He got me fired up.
But it's our job to make sure that we shut down the haters and got to get that disrespect or get that respect back. So, Burnt World says Iowa, just a whole bunch of Iowa. Let's take a look here. Michael said Wisconsin's the most hated in the Big Ten, and it's not even close. But Roger Moore says that CU is just the most hated, which that's fair. Roger, fire back, and maybe you have, and I just haven't gotten to it yet. Your top 5 in the Big Ten.
I haven't.
Let's see. I got that one saved, Joe. That's a great comment. And Joe did email his top 5 Big Ten hated teams in ascending order. He says it starts with Northwestern. He says because Nebraska is the true NU. Wisconsin, primarily because of volleyball, but also because under Alvarez, they out Nebraska. He says Penn State, again, primarily due to volleyball, but my hatred started in 1983 with the Blackledge to McSorley out of bounds catch at the 2. And trust me, I've been there. There isn't a dadgum thing happy in that valley. Well played. Ohio State, because they're so full of themselves, they insist on prefacing Ohio State with the, and which is true. They actually tried to get the word the trademarked because, again, they're full of shit. And number one, since neither Notre Dame nor Texas is in the Big Ten, this spot is reserved for Iowa. And that is all-encompassing. I especially hate it when Iowa lands a player from Nebraska, starting back with Larry Station. So thank you, Joe. Great analysis as always. Keep those comments coming.
Very nice.
Bert says, my bad, thought it was top 10.
They're in top 10. Just the 5 Iowas. Okay. Should we take a couple of comments?
Sure.
Okay. There's quite a few that are starred. So Brad Wilson says Minnesota and Northwestern are honorable mention. Why? I mean, I get Minnesota. Why Northwestern? I was thinking about this earlier today. I was like, does anyone really hate Northwestern?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you fill me in? What? Why? Why?
Northwestern has this. First of all, they claim Chicago, but they're not in Chicago.
Okay.
They're up the road by
so that's one strike.
It's kind of like Syracuse in that a lot of sports writers and talking heads went to Northwestern. So there's always a media bias about Northwestern.
Strike 2.
Prior to all the NIL, get your players paid, the mess that we're in now, they actually tried to unionize at Northwestern before they were eventually shut down. Like, that's not going to happen, guys. Sorry.
Really?
Yeah, they did. Evanston, Illinois, Roger, you're absolutely right. But there's just this air, and not even getting into the stuff like, that cost Pat Fitzgerald his job and all the stuff that Fred likes to joke about each and every week, the Kenosha car wash and all that fun stuff. It's just they have this smug superiority, but they're really fucking garbage. It's a garbage school. I'm sorry. It's garbage athletic programs, and they have nothing to brag about except their GPAs. Well, congratulations. GPAs aren't winning national championships, boys.
Greg, I think you've already met your cussing quota for today.
Maybe. Well, we're only halfway through this fucking show, so we're going to keep rolling.
Holy cow. Okay.
I'm just saying, tonight, I'm going to exercise all my anger. I'm going to get it out.
It kind of feels good to get it out, doesn't it?
I'm going to feel better at the end of the show. I promise you that.
Okay. Well, I understand.
Dane Coulter, that's the player. That's the player who tried unionizing it. And I don't know. Haas, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe somebody else. They were going to strike, or they're going to organize a walkout, something like that. It didn't work. But yeah, every game against them's in the twilight zone. It's they can kick them out of the conference and replace them with anybody else.
Anybody else? Well, they're like one of the first schools to join.
I don't care.
You can't kick them out. I don't think that's allowed now. It would have had to happen a long time ago. How do you kick a team out of the conference? Has that ever happened?
Tony, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, they're, again, and I'm not saying like from the academic standpoint. I'm not saying that their academics are garbage. I'm just saying it's
sorry.
The hell?
Don't ask. My mouse isn't working. I have to use my other mouse.
It's just, let's just say Evanston and all things associated, by and large, garbage. Number one academic school, yes, I agree. But man, they wear that like a badge of honor, but it's not winning many natties. So
okay. Excuse me.
All right, she's gone. Where'd she go? I didn't. Who's when you do that, you're highlighting comments, just so you know.
What did I do?
You
made a
highlighted
mess.
a comment,
Sorry.
and it was a very red comment. Kaylee says, I'm surprised not one person put Nebraska in their top 5 because even though it may be the team that brings joy, it's also the team that brings such pain and personal anguish.
I just spilled wine on my keyboard, on my magical keyboard, my magic keyboard.
Is it?
It's dripping wet. Look. I don't like it's dripping. What do I do?
Spilled the clearance wine, Roger says.
Sorry. Oh, shit. Okay.
So, I do have a I think it's from Triple B Printing. The Saturdays are for Pain and Sadness shirt, Kaylee. That's right up there with our There Is No Hope, Like Everything Go Big Red shirt that used to be available on coronation.com and was until we got slapped with a trademark from the university. So we had to put those on clearance real quick and move as many as we could. So.
That's a good idea, Michael. Drink straight out of the problem. The bottle, problem solved. That's a good idea.
Fred says put it in a bag of rice.
I think it's okay. I don't think anything was damaged.
Living in Omaha, David Manny, the official realtor of the 5 Heart Podcast, says that is a result of karma and the betrayal.
I feel like he's probably right. Okay. It caught up with me. Joke.
Oh, now she froze up. So let's take a few other comments here. Brad had mentioned that Minnesota and Northwestern honorable mentions. MK says number 1 is Indiana, number 2 Penn State, 3 is Iowa, 4 is Wisconsin, and 5 is oregano. It's always just oregano. It's definitely never anything else. Let's see. Brad respects Wisconsin because Alvarez built it like Nebraska. That's, as they say, no lie detected there, Brad. That doesn't mean I like Wisconsin. I know I hate to say. Let's see. Yeah, she's gone. My goodness. Being serious about this. Perpetually indignant, you know who you are, says if we go 10-2, nope, highlighted the wrong one. Apologies. If we go 10-2, like Joel Class says, the noise starts to die down. I don't disagree. I think you go 8-4, 9-3, anything over 7 wins, you have to again show improvement from this year to from last year to this year. Here's the one from Vince. Number 1 is USC. 2 is Oregon, 3 is Minnesota, 4 is UCLA, and 5 is Wisconsin. So a lot of old Pac-10, Pac-12 representation in Vince's list. Not entirely sure what axe you have to grind with the West Coast. Not opposed to it. So let's see. Take a quick look at something new. Did someone throw water on Minnie? No. I think Minnie's malfunctioning all on her own. I think she's back.
Sorry.
Are you back?
Yes, I'm back. Okay.
Do I ask?
Between I spilt wine on my keyboard and I downloaded a browser last week that I shouldn't have. I'm having all sorts of issues here.
What kind of browser did you?
It was not anything it's just a normal browser, but it doesn't work well with this computer. So I apologize for that.
Kaylee says, drink straight out of the problem. Minnie Hunt, inspirational speaker.
Thank you. At least my Phil Steele magazine is intact. Did not get any wine on it. So there's always a silver lining.
Let's see. Nebraska T-Bones says, don't really hate a Big Ten team. I point all my hate toward Boulder, Colorado. There is a cloud of evilness that hovers over the University of Colorado. I don't disagree.
And I love that dog.
Is that what kind of dog is it?
It looks like a hound and a golden retriever. Or a lab.
I was going to say a lab, like a yellow lab. But
maybe it is a yellow lab with a brown nose. Yeah, it looks like a lab.
Let's see. Never Mind Me says, how do you not have Iowa on there, dude? Well, you haven't heard my list yet. Living in Omaha, David Matney, the official realtor of the 5 Heart Podcast, says, when we get back to winning 9 games a season, can we agree now not to fire the coach?
Yes, we all agree.
Has my vote.
History is not going to repeat itself, David Matney, because we won't let it happen.
It's a Labrador Retriever named Ruger.
Labrador Retriever. Ruger? Oh.
And Fred says, looks like a Labrador Retriever named Ruger. Michael Hassman hates Colorado as well, but hates Texas and Miami more. Roger Moore, speaking of, no pun intended, Wisconsin basically carbon copied the Nebraska uniform and under Barry Alvarez, their playing style, etc. J. Rich, slew of numbers, which may or may not be a zip code, says it's easy to hate teams when you can't beat them. Sure. It's also fun to hate teams when you can't beat them. So,
but you know what? It does something to you. Like, I feel like, and maybe this is just the softer side, like speaking, but I feel like when we beat a team, I kind of almost pity them sometimes, unless it's Colorado or Iowa. Then I don't feel so bad because of the history. But yeah, like, I think there's some truth to that, what he said. Are you mad that I said that?
No, I never feel bad. I never feel bad beating a team.
Okay.
Never. Let's see. Nebraska Strong really hated the stupid Sooners growing up. Ken E says, no hate for Iowa. Their fans aren't complete tools like Colorado and Texas fans.
They actually are, Ken. They actually are. They're worse. They're really bad. They're arrogant. They think we're arrogant. Yeah.
Maybe we're arrogant. We think they're arrogant.
Maybe. But I can tell you, I have gotten so much crap from Iowa fans just out of nowhere. I'm like, we know we're not good. Okay? So we're not arrogant anymore. Well, now we're good. Now we're getting good. But in the past, you know.
Let's see here. Husker Chuck's Mount Rushmore of hate. Different topic, but let's stick with it. Notre Dame, Alabama, Colorado, Missouri.
Alabama, I remember him talking about Alabama being on his number 1 hate list. And I think he said that hate started back in the 60s. If that's right. Tell me if that's right, Husker Chuck.
Well, we wait for Husker Chuck's response. Haas says, Iowa fans were absolutely awful after the game last year in Iowa City. Getting out of Kinnick was like evacuating Saigon in 74.
Yeah. They are arrogant. I agree. They're horrible people. Okay, so it was the 60s that Alabama hate started.
Yes, indeed. Okay. Willie Daly checking in for, I believe, the first time on a Thursday night, says Iowa fans suck.
Does anyone have Texas on there?
Well, Texas isn't in the conference.
No. Oh, okay. But I was looking at Husker Chuck's comment, and he has other teams outside of our conference. So we're talking about just our conference this week. Next time, I guess we're going to talk about outside of our conference.
Get your head out of your ass, Chuck.
Because if I remember correctly, Texas and Oklahoma should be on there too, right? And Miami.
I don't hate Oklahoma. Or Oklahoma fans. I don't like them. I don't hate them. But I hate Texas and Miami.
Okay. Glad we got that cleared up. Just this conference. So you only have 18 teams to choose from.
If you can't find enough hate in the Big Ten, then you're not looking hard enough. I can find 18 people I hate every day walking down the street.
Are you serious?
No.
Great.
But I can find 18 motorists that I hate in a given day. I'm a very angry driver.
Oh my gosh.
Josh knows, but he's not here.
Okay, do you want to go over your?
No, let's go over newbies.
Don't. If that is not a good nickname.
No, I'm sorry.
I'll answer to anything else, just not that. Please.
You know, it's like my mom always says, not what they call you, it's what you answer to.
Yeah. And
like I prefer, I don't care what you call me, just call me for dinner.
Okay, so I'm going to just start with Thank you, Kaylee.
No, Pete, you didn't.
I'm going to start with the most recent of my hate.
You don't get to pick your call sign. How about rookie?
Jeez.
All right. Your most recent. Yes, let's start with your most recent.
Everyone coming. Okay. Indiana.
Okay.
And I will tell you why.
I know why, but you tell the people.
It's not because they beat us last year.
It has nothing to do with the on-the-field performance.
It has everything to do with what they said afterwards. Because, yes, they beat the pants off of us, and it sucked. It was a horrible loss. I was depressed. I cried. But that's not what developed that hatred. It was like, okay, Indiana's not a joke. But then they had to go and get cocky. Oh, and they talked badly about Nebraska out there to everyone in the world. This is what they said. We haven't beat a top. This was after they lost to Notre Dame. Signetti said, we haven't beat a top 25 team. Mocking the Hoosiers, many critics. Nebraska was ranked 25th in the coaches poll when we beat their ASS. 56-7.
Is that a new one on the banned list?
It just makes me so mad because he kept having to say how he beat our you-know-whats and beat the you-know-what out of us on national television. Why? That is so mean. It's just mean-spirited.
I don't think you know how college sports work. There's so much ego and bravado involved in all of this, right? Like, of course they're going to talk shit. And if you don't want them to talk shit, then don't lose by 49 points to them.
It was disgusting.
Okay.
I didn't mind until then. Then I was like, I'm so glad that they lost to Notre Dame. And I never want to ever see Indiana do well ever, ever, ever again in my whole life. That's how I feel. I think that qualifies as hate.
All right. Who else you got?
Okay. I also have UCLA because, again, for the same reason, similar reason. However, Deshaun Foster, I always say Ryan Foster. Deshaun Foster he's just a walking cocky factory. I don't like him at all. And USC, because of the way we lost last season. Michigan, because they are cheaters. And lastly, Minnesota. Because
Minnesota?
Yeah.
Tony's never coming back.
Sorry. Well, he's not here tonight, so.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, is he?
Yes.
I didn't see him. Sorry, Tony.
Tony.
I don't like PJ Fleck.
Tony. I would never.
Yeah, you would.
See, I told you he was here.
I'm so sorry. I'm at Wisconsin.
Don't go changing it now. All right. I'm trying to figure out how much shit I want to get in for some of the things I could potentially say. Because what I could say would be most controversial. And I've been advised in the past not to say this.
What?
I hate Michigan. That's not the controversial part. I'm still stewing about whether or not I want to get to really say the truly disgusting, vile, controversial bit. But I hate Michigan.
Did I tell you not to say it?
No, other people have.
Oh, okay. I don't even know what you're talking about.
I don't think I've ever expressed these dark thoughts to you.
Should we be scared?
It could get me canceled.
Deep, dark Greg.
Yeah.
The scene is set.
Oh. Rascal says, we want unfiltered Greg. Mm-hmm. Just say it. All right, we'll get there. When we get to Iowa, we'll get there. I'm going to piss a lot of people off.
Oh.
So Michigan, I hate Michigan for all the obvious reasons, but also for, I don't know, some of the less obvious reasons. I hate Michigan going back, over 15 years, I think. I think it was when Rich Rodriguez was there, and the quarterback just got absolutely demolished, and he wasn't taken out of the game. Like he couldn't barely stand up. I think the next play, like he stayed in an extra play with obvious concussion, and he should have been taken out, and they didn't see it right away. When we talk about the 21st century and all the advancements we made in recognizing concussions, and then we stack that on top of the cheating, and then I think that we always hate the winners, right? If the winners aren't us, and I think Michigan's up there, maybe in the top. If they're not the top, they're the top 3, I think, in wins in college football history. So a lot of reasons to hate Michigan. And I hate Ohio State more than Michigan for a lot of the same reasons, but also I know more Ohio State fans, and I think that as Nebraska fans, I love us because I love Nebraska and we love Nebraska, so we have that commonality. I'm sure a lot of people from the outside think that we're obnoxious. We're holding on to the 90s or whatever. But I have yet to come across a fan base more obnoxious than Ohio State.
Yes. Preach it, Greg.
So, and the fact that they are in the state legislature, they submitted a bill to make it illegal to plant a flag at Ohio Stadium. Like, give me a break. You can't take yourself that serious.
That's right.
Can you? So Ohio State, pretty much any sporting team in the state of Ohio can, as my dad would say, take a long jump off a short pier. Moving on.
Okay.
I don't care for the USC Trojans. I never have. I didn't like them in the Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart era. Again, I don't care for that West for either coast, realistically, but that we're getting there. Oh, I'm going to get in so much trouble. Minnie might shut me off when we get to why one of the reasons I hate Iowa. But that West Coast style, I've never, that sunshine and Hollywood bullshit, not my style, not my thing. I don't hate them as much as I hate Northwestern, which we've already established earlier in the show. I hate Northwestern just a little bit more than I hate Illinois. Thank you, Pitt. Growing up in Southern Illinois, like, it was easy for me to not be an Illinois fan because I didn't know any Illinois football fans. And that was in the year, I think it was when you were doing the show with Mark from College Football Talk, right? And he said that there was a stretch of 5 years in the late 80s, early 90s where Illinois beat Ohio State 5 years in a row. And nobody cared. At least, nobody that I talked to. Not saying that 10, 11, 12-year-olds needed to care at the time. But I don't hate Illinois as much as I hate Northwestern. I don't hate anybody as much as I hate Iowa in the Big Ten. I'll say this. Their football is effective but boring. It's bland. It's vanilla. It is, if you ever watched Remember the Titans, it's that Novocaine. It'll put you to sleep, and that's why it fucking works. But oh my God. I got to.
Take a drink, Greg. Take a breather. Boyd and Strong, 1987, says USC stands for the University of Spoiled Children. How do you feel? You got there?
I'm about to. I'm afraid that what I'm going to say is going to besmirch whatever goodness that and positive morale people have with the 5 Heart podcast.
Oh no.
Okay. I hate the wave at Iowa.
Oh. Actually, that doesn't. I think you've said that before. If you haven't, I think Haas has. Somebody has.
Look. These kids with cancer, sick kids, that's the worst, right? But a manufactured, stadium-wide, everybody's expected to turn around in the middle of a game, wave to the kids. That seems so fake and the epitome of pandering. I hate it. If I ever go to a game, I will not participate. And I want these kids to get better. But making them watch Iowa football is only making them wish for death faster.
Greg.
I'm sorry.
Really?
Sick kids around the world, get better. I'll thoughts and prayers. But this manufactured horse shit, turn around, fake smile, wave, and then turn it back to the field and shout, kill them to the other.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. One doesn't have to do with the other. It's like you're. It's like the people coming out of the church parking lot, honking horns. Greg, ever done that?
It's coming out of the church parking lot.
Okay. Well, do you feel better now?
Yeah. Aaron says, I specifically don't participate in the wave. When I go to Iowa games, it's the same as the fake jingoistic stuff all the programs pull. Fred says, serious question to Greg. If Nebraska did it, would you not like it then? I probably wouldn't. Again, I think it's forced. I think it's it's group thought, sheep mentality. Oh,
those things should only be done in when the spirit moves you. I get it.
Yeah.
Not like planned. I get it.
And that's exactly what it is. It's planned.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that's a good point, Greg.
And Tony, here's the thing.
But it does.
I'm not going to give the cancer kids the finger. I'll just not turn around. Kaylee says, didn't Bama win a couple titles playing boring ball? Yeah, but boring ball with better talent, I suppose.
Yeah.
Perpetually Indignant says, okay, fair enough, Greg. However, if the kids like it, then I'm okay with it. I understand your position as long as you understand mine. And Fred says, serious question number 2. I know it was a one-off.
I knew this was going to be brought up after you said that.
So I think the difference with that is nobody expected the Jack Hoffman run. The Jack Hoffman run was a moment. It was not an expectation. There was no every week or 7 out of 12 weeks, whatever it is, turning around and no, that was a one shot, right? And that I watched that. I still well up with tears because I don't think that there was anything forced about it. I think that was a great idea that whether it's Bo Pelini, somebody in the marketing department, somebody on the coaching staff, or one of the players, I think it was a great idea that they had to incorporate. But again, that was a one-off. And
it was
not the expectation that everybody had to turn around.
And it certainly wasn't thought of at the time as something that is going to be like legendary at Nebraska. It just was like, this is really important that we do this, and let's all come together and do this for this child. I think it's totally different. And I do like what Living in Omaha David Matney says. Actually, it could be a very smart psychological play. You soften up the opponent right in the middle of the game.
Which is another reason not to like it, because Nebraska's never the home team in that stadium.
Yep.
So, no, we don't flip off cancer kids. Let's see. Greg goes to an Iowa game. He's going to Goldberg spear a kid or two. No. I would not have had Jack tackled. But we talked about that. It's one of the top moments of the last couple of decades. Obviously, in it. We talked about that. We talked about the no punter set in the game opener after we lost it. There are some very just emotionally touching moments, not just in Nebraska football, but across all sports, but college football. This whole thing about 7 times a year turning around and waving to the kids at the children's hospital, it's not special anymore. It needs to stop.
Pitt says Greg's in the wrestle a buddy in the yard stage of grief takers. Greg, it's okay. I get it. I get your point. You don't have to persuade me too much.
I have more that I want to talk about.
Okay.
Minnie, and not just Minnie, all of you.
Poor Greg, you're getting a lot of. This is usually me, so thank you. Usually they dump on me. You are the dumpy tonight.
I guess I don't know. I think I'd rather be the dumper than the. I don't know. No, a serious question for you, Minnie, as well as all of our esteemed, amazing. All right.
Holger Maniacs.
Yeah, you wonderful Holger Maniacs. Before that, Kaylee says 3-hour podcast, 5 years off Greg's life. Entirely possible. All right. Somebody asked if the wave is the worst, what's one of the best traditions in college football? Somebody said the whiteout here towards the end here. Stephen Fromm says the Penn State whiteout is the best. I really, really like Virginia Tech's entrance to Enter Sandman. When that measures on the Richter scale, I think that's fantastic. And it's a damn great song. I don't know if it's the best, but that's one of the ones that stick out to me.
It's a good one.
All right, so to all of you, who's Nebraska's rival and how can you tell?
Well, I know.
Okay.
Because last year, I think it was last year. Yeah, no, it had to have been last year because I was a newbie then. We did a thing on Nebraska rivals, and I think I actually wrote an article about it in Core Nation, and I needed to really find out what is behind, like, the heart of a good rivalry. And typically, it is sharing a location, like Nebraska and Iowa, or Minnesota and Wisconsin, or Iowa and Iowa State, things like that, where they're close to each other or they play each other often enough to where the fans can intermingle, because it divides neighborhoods, friends, and families. Like, even people who go to church together, they're like, oh, I hate your team. And so that's what a good rivalry is made of.
So who's Nebraska's rival?
I mean, depends. I guess it would be Iowa, but that's kind of boring. Don't you think?
Yeah. I think my issue with this, I think I'm going to make myself sick. Nebraska doesn't have a rival. Nebraska doesn't have a rival because Nebraska doesn't have a rivalry game. I think, do you remember the athletic jackass who wrote the Scott Frost article that we talked about at the beginning of the episode?
Vin something or other.
Was it
Vinny? What?
Chris Vanini?
Yes, Vanini. Yep.
I feel bad now that I'm giving this airhead more airtime. But he put out a list recently of the college football rivalry names. Okay. The top 25 college football rivalry names. Now, I'm glad that I clarified that or specified that, because he did not include in this list the game, which is arguably well done, Pitt, I suppose. The greatest rivalry in college football.
Okay.
So, would you like to hear this list?
Yes, I would. I would love to hear it.
The top 25 college football rivalry names. Now, it's not just Division I. It goes all the way down to Division III. There are some HBCUs, historically black college and university. All right, so the first one is the one that I've actually talked about and bemoaned the
I know, is this top of the list? Is number one on the list?
I work my way up on the list because I'm smart.
Okay, so this is, how
Number
many
25.
are there?
25.
Are we going through all 25?
Well, we're at least going to mention them.
Okay,
But
go for it.
We don't have to necessarily get into.
Okay.
So number 25.
I say, well, should we have just give one more second to tee this up, Greg? I'm helping, trying. Guys, put your yes in the comments, please. That way they get to play along. Is there anything you don't want to hear from our guests? The Holger Maniacs?
Sure.
Okay.
I was also told to wrap this thing up by 10:30, and I don't think that's going to happen either.
Okay.
So, at number 25, we have the border war, which, as I mentioned in weeks past, Missouri, Kansas, but ever since Missouri shuffled off to the SEC, I don't think there have been many games in many matchups in football. Trying to verify at least anything that says the last time. They are going to be playing some games coming up, 25, 26, and then 31 and 32. But the border war has not been played since since November 26th, 2011. So that's a long time to go without a rivalry game. So pour one out for the border war. Then we have the backyard brawl. Are you familiar with the backyard brawl, Minnie?
No.
The backyard brawl is University of Pittsburgh and West Virginia, the Mountaineers.
Ooh.
Now, they have met 107 times total, the first one being in 1895, and most recently they met in September of last year with Pitt winning that one 38-34. These two teams meet regularly and will play again next year, September 13th, 2025. Then we have the real HU. Now, will the real HU please stand up?
Please stand up. Please.
That is determined each and every year since 1908 between the Hampton Pirates and the Howard Bison. It is a Mid-Atlantic Conference. The first one, again, 1908, most recently September of last year, Hampton winning the award in that one. 99 total meetings, so I guess not every year, but I digress. Hampton leading the series 57-41, 57-41 and 1. So then we have the Granite Bowl. Now, the Granite Bowl is not going to be one that we're terribly familiar with. It is, it looks like this Granite Bowl. Well, the Granite Bowl might be, I don't know, we're going to skip the Granite Bowl. I didn't pull up the right Wikipedia article. My apologies. The third Saturday in October, most college football fans should know the third Saturday in October. And that is Alabama and Tennessee. They have been playing, they played 107 times since 1901, and Alabama leads that one, but maybe not as wide of a margin as you might think. 59, 40, and 7 ties. Tennessee won the most recent game last year, 24-17. Then there's the Civil War.
What? The Civil War?
The Civil War.
Oh, what? Tell me about this. I've never heard of the Civil War.
Okay, so the Civil War actually took place in the 19th century.
No, in college football.
That is Oregon versus Oregon State. They played last year. Oregon won big, as you would imagine. They'll play again this September in Eugene. Let's see. They have been playing since 1894. 128 meetings total. Oregon leading that series 69-49.
Vocal War? Is that what it is?
Civil.
Oh.
What did you think I said?
I don't know. I was just looking at comments and trying to help.
All right. Sorry. I can't read the comments. I'm looking at all the research.
Can you read this? Okay.
Can you read it?
Nope. Cannot. Holy War.
I'll get to it, Joe. Hang tight, brother. All right. Then we have the Boombox Classic. Boombox Classic. I'm guessing maybe it wasn't always called that, but I don't know how long Boombox has been around. That is Jackson State and Southern University. They've met 72 times.
Versus Jackson State versus who?
Southern University.
I don't even know where that is. I assume it's in Florida.
It's FCS. It's dropped down a division. Southern is in Louisiana. Jackson State is in Mississippi, like Jackson, Mississippi.
Okay.
We want to go back and reference our Civil War-ness. Like
Thank
Vicksburg. You. Vicksburg is also there in Mississippi. This series actually tied 35 wins apiece, and there have been 2 vacated wins in the series. So that's a little bit on the Boombox Classic. How about the Rumble in the Rockies, Minnie?
The Rumble in the Rockies. It's like WWE. Go ahead. Is it Colorado State versus Colorado?
You would think, but it's not. It's Colorado versus Utah. And this rivalry actually was paused for nearly 5 decades. So they've only met 70 times in the first game being in 1903 and the most recent game being last year. And Utah actually owns the edge on this one, 35, 33, and 3. So there you go. Suck it, Colorado, you worthless sacks of crap.
They definitely suck it. They do. They suck it.
This one comes with, we don't need a whole lot of explanation for the Red River Rivalry. That's Oklahoma and Texas. They have met 120 times since 1900. Texas leading that all-time series 65-51 and 5 ties. How about Clean Old-Fashioned Hate? I just love the name of this. Maybe that's why the name of this list is the top names of rivalry.
What number are we at?
I can actually tell you that. Clean Old-Fashioned Hate is number 16. So we're making good progress, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Any guesses on who participates in Clean Old-Fashioned Hate?
I do have a guess. It was a Fred Sacco comment not that long ago. It was something about... Oh, no, it was Joe Lalakis. Hatfield and McCoy's.
You know what? We'll actually get to that, Joe. There is a moonshine reference on the list, so hang tight. Don't get ahead of me. But Kaylee's on the ball. She knows that the good old-fashioned hate, clean old-fashioned hate is Georgia versus Georgia Tech. That first game played in 1893, 118 meetings total. Georgia leading that all-time series 72-41 and 5 ties. Then we get to 100 miles of hate. And again, this time we have to go to a smaller division. We have Middle Tennessee versus Western Kentucky, and they have met 74 times. First one being in 1914, and Western Kentucky owns the edge 38, 35, and 1. I am noticing that when you look at these, there has to be some parity. Like, it can't be exceptionally lopsided. Otherwise, I don't think it's a rivalry, right? So there's the margin of victory is usually in the the 55%, maybe 60% on the high end of the time. So then we have, oh gosh, this is going to be a tough one too. What is the name of this one? I apologize, everybody. The Seafaring Scuffle. Now, this is D3, so we don't have to spend a whole lot of time on it. But the Seafaring Scuffle is SUNY Maritime versus Merchant Marines. And they play this one up in New York. So I can't really.
I hear the song Brandy playing in the background.
Like you do, or like right now, or just when you think of the Seafaring Scuffle?
The Seafaring Scuffle makes me think of that song.
Interesting. And why would it be?
Well, because
sing us a few bars so we know.
I'm not. No. But it's a good song.
It is a good song. We have at number, I got lost track, number 13. So again, we're cruising. We have the Coal Bowl. Now, nobody would get this one, and that's okay. It is the Pennsylvania Western University and Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Think about that again. The Coal Bowl first took place in 1908, and that first meeting ended in a tie, so we were off to an awesome start. They have met 99 times, and IUP, the Indiana University of Pennsylvania, is leading the series 65-31-3, and they play for the Coal Miners Pale Trophy, which is pretty unique, I think. Then we get to the Egg Bowl, and this is a big one in the SEC. It's Mississippi State and Ole Miss. They have played 120.
Egg? Did you say egg?
Egg, yes, like no, egg, chicken, egg. Which came first, chicken or the egg?
Well, who wrote? And this guy wrote a terrible list. I don't think. Okay.
Again, it's not the most. It's just the ranking the college football rivalry names.
Oh, names.
Well, I thought I was very clear on that at the beginning.
Well, I had some Walgreens clearance wine, so you had to repeat yourself.
Ole Miss and Mississippi State play for the Golden Egg Trophy. It's a large trophy. I'm guessing there's a golden egg on the top, if I had to guess.
Guessing you're right.
Then we get to, that's not the right one. Damn it. Where'd it go? I lost my moonshine game.
Uh-oh.
There is a game. Oh, here it is. The Moonshine Throwdown between Marshall and Western Kentucky. Now, this one is very recent. This one only began in 2014 when Western Kentucky joined Conference USA and were placed in the same division. The teams have played each other in football since 1941, however, and the Moonshine Throwdown moniker and the rivalry's intensity solidified their shared conference membership. So the rivalry's name is a nod to the region's history of moonshine production, and the teams share geographic location in Kentucky and West Virginia. So the series is officially tied from, being in the same conference at 3-3. So that's a little bit on the Moonshine Throwdown. And then we get to the Soul Bowl.
What number are we at?
Are you bored? We're into the top 10 now.
I need to know how much longer.
Brad says, Greg, don't put this on your dating site profile. I don't know. I'm entertained. I can stop. If you guys want to miss out on the top 10.
Oh, definitely not. We've made it this far.
You've made it this far.
Please.
So the Soul Bowl is again one of the HBCU or a pair of the HBCU schools. It's Alcorn State, the Braves, and the Jackson State Tigers. First game in 1927. They've met 89 times since, with Jackson State leading the series 49-38 with 2 ties. Then we get to the biggest little game in America. And this is fun. This one goes back to 1884. So far on the list, this might be the oldest one. Amherst Mammoths versus Williams Athletics. They met 138 times, with Williams leading 76-57 with 5 ties. This is so much fun for me. I appreciate all of you. Up next, we have the annual matchup between Iowa State and Kansas State, couple of Big 8 and Big 12 foes. Minnie, any guess what Iowa State, Kansas State is referred to?
No guess.
Farmageddon.
I did hear this earlier today, actually, because I was watching a Big 12 Media Day thing, and they talked about Farmageddon.
And it actually started when both teams were in the Missouri Valley Conference all the way back in 1917, 108 meetings, with Iowa State having a 4-game advantage in that all-time series record.
Okay.
Then we move on.
Is this the last one?
No. Then we move on to.
The list is growing.
What?
It's like growing.
Hey, we're all having a great time. That's all I know.
I'm out of clearance wine.
That's
How long is this list going to last?
Let's see. We are on number 7, so the end is in sight.
Okay.
Deeper Than Hate is the matchup between the Appalachian State Mountaineers and Georgia Southern Eagles. They've met 40 times since 1932. Appalachian State leads that series 22-17-1. Moving on, trying to speed this up a little bit because I'm getting.
Okay.
We have. So let me ask you this.
Okay.
If you were to attend an event called the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, where geographically in the United States do you think that would take place?
Cocktail party, Tennessee.
Close.
Kentucky?
You're at least in the right conference. But this is the Florida-Georgia rivalry game.
Moonshine.
And I don't know about moonshine because they cocktail parties. I don't know. Originally meeting in 1904. These two teams have met 100 and they can't even agree. Such is their disdain, they can't even agree on the number of times that they have met. Georgia says they met 103 times. Florida says they met 102 times.
They can't even agree. They can't even agree. This is funny. Seriously?
Georgia, they can't agree. Georgia says they have one more win in the series than Florida believes they have. Florida believes the all-time record is 56-44-2.
How much drinking takes place at these games?
Enough that they forgot an entire game.
I guess. They can't. Like they're there like counting 1, 2.
Right. Let's go back through the records. Of course, then we have the Iron Bowl. As we get into our top 5, the Iron Bowl, Alabama and Auburn, 89 meetings.
Wait. There's people who actually said this. I got it. Since you're bringing it up, they were highlighted a while ago.
All right, bring it on.
Okay. I know I said it. I know. There. Look at that. Look who got it. There was one person that said Iron Bowl. I must have clicked off of it because I saw this was going really long.
Fred says, Greg, Minnie's doing the pee dance. You should know this. Well, clearly.
I don't need. No, it's not that.
All right. I was gonna say I'm if she could have disappeared and gone and come back, and I would have never known. So the Iron Bowl, 89 meetings since 1893. Alabama leads the series all time 51-37-1. At the number 4 spot, we have, you guessed it, I saw it before in the comments, Holy War, BYU versus Utah. And these two schools that are both from Utah, of course, have met 102 times since 1896. And again, cannot agree on the number of wins. Utah says they have 62 wins. BYU says Utah has 59 wins. So it's a 3-game difference of opinion in that particular series. Then we have at number 3, the Battle for the Bones, which just sounds awesome, by the way. Memphis Tigers and the University of Alabama Birmingham Blazers. And this one goes all the way back to 1997 seems a little brief. All the way back to, let me check my notes, 17 meetings total, and UAB leads the series 10-7. At number 2, one that's very familiar to Nebraska fans and Big 8 fans, Big 12 fans, and that's Bedlam, Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. Oh, shit, she really did take off. Thank you, Kaylee. Top 25 instead of 5 Heart Theater. Are you not entertained?
Very.
So we all know Bedlam is Oklahoma State. First meeting was 1904, and they play for the Bedlam Bell. 118 meetings total, with Oklahoma leading the series. We talked about how a lot of the great rivalries, there's a lot of parity and equality. Not so much. 91 wins for Oklahoma, 20 wins for Oklahoma State, and 7 ties between them. And last but not least, we're going to need a drum roll on this one.
Can you hear it?
I can hear it.
Okay. There.
They call this the Brawl of the Wild. And it has really taken it. I believe College Game Day went there last year, made a real big deal out of Montana versus Montana State. These two teams have played 123 times since 1897. Montana leads at 74-43 with 5 ties on it. But the winner receives the Great Divide Trophy, as the universities are on opposite sides of the Continental Divide. It has been called the Brawl of the Wild since 1997. Prior to that, it was the Cat Grizz game, or perhaps the Grizz Cat game, depending on which side of the loyalty line you fell. Big Sky Conference matchup, and they've made a name for themselves, especially with the popularity of social media and cable, etc. So that's the list, everybody. Thank you all for help. We did it. Proud of all of us.
Okay, Greg, you can sit back, take a break. Michael Hassman says Army versus Navy. How come you didn't mention any of the Army-Navy games?
Same reason I didn't mention Michigan-Ohio State. The ranking was ranking college football rivalry names.
Yeah, we didn't catch that at the beginning.
I said it
Nobody caught it. Are you okay? Okay. Even David Matney said Army Navy. Like, we're all sitting here going, okay, these are the biggest rivals. Vince Watson said Wyoming versus Colorado State, border war. See, because this is what we were talking about.
Yeah.
He also said Ohio State versus Michigan. Roger Moore said Texas versus.
I mentioned that one, Roger.
Okay. You did
Red
good.
River Rivalry.
You did
17.
good. Look at this. Minnie Hunt even chimed in. I misunderstood after you said it 3 times. Burnt World. I think these are our biggest rivalries, is what he's saying.
Historically, I would say Nebraska, Oklahoma's probably, yeah.
Okay. And, ooh, see, here's our real estate expert chiming in with a little real estate history. Living in Omaha, David Matney, the official realtor of the 5 Heart podcast, says Ohio State versus Michigan actually had a real border conflict in the 1830s.
Mr. Matney, I propose that you do a video of that on your channel.
He probably will. He probably already has.
Maybe.
He covers a lot of ground. Get it? on his channel. And then Stephen Fromm says Catholics versus convicts. What game is that?
Notre Dame versus, I want to say, Miami.
Okay. And Kaylee says BYU versus Utah is much bigger in the Rockies. When you were talking about the
Holy War?
No, something in the Rockies.
Rumble in the Rockies?
Rumble in the Rockies.
Colorado, Utah. I agree. That's why I ascended from number 25 to number 1. Holy War was number 4.
Okay. Then this kept being brought up tonight. What is the $5 bits of broken chair?
In the Bo Pelini era, there was a Twitter exchange between Faux Pelini and Goldie Gopher, the mascot of the Golden Gophers, the Minnesota Golden Gophers, and they did the there was a bet on the game, just an innocent bet, and it's like, I'll bet you $5 and the bits of the broken chair that got thrown, in the wall or something like that in a fit of rage, and it became the $5 bits of broken chair trophy. Every year when Nebraska plays Minnesota in football, what's really nice about this is it's not formally recognized by either university, which I think makes it that much more fun. So there's the $5 bits of broken chair group organization, and there's your Minnesota contingent, there's your Nebraska contingent, and they both do like fundraising to give to either the University of Nebraska Medical Center or the University of Minnesota Children's Hospital. They do fundraising, and that's how they, the week of the game, and obviously the winning side gets to take home the trophy. It actually did end up in the Nebraska locker room at one point, and probably the Minnesota one as well. It's a really great story. It's like most tried and true trophies that people care about. It happened organically. It's not like the Heroes Trophy or the Legends Trophy that are commercial. James Boardman hits the nail on the head. It's the only trophy that matters.
That is beautiful. I do like that. I also feel like you did not get enough words in today. That's why you're speaking extra tonight.
I've been accused by others about having to hit a word quota. So
I feel like that's what's going on here. Nebraska T-Bone says Navy versus Coast Guard. Isn't that the Seafarers Bowl? What did you call it? The Brandy Bowl?
The Seafaring Scuffle? No, that's not the same. But I appreciate the look or the try.
I do like this one too.
This one by Perpetually Indignant. Word shaming. I didn't have that on my bingo card.
You should have. Okay. Nebraska Strong said go Big Red. And Satterfield versus Husker fans.
Yeah, but it doesn't have a catchy name, so it didn't make the list.
It could have a catchy name.
Mr. Matney says Greg is mad over a decent chair being destroyed in order to raise money for healthcare. That's not. That'll be enough out of that, sir.
Okay.
All right, let's take a look at some of these other ones. Let's see. Haas earlier said top 5 most hated coaches in the Big Ten: Brett Bielema, PJ Fleck, Ryan Day, Signetti, and I can already tell that I'll hate Barry Odom.
Oh. At per don't?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Joe said earlier, on a positive note, former Husker baseball shortstop Bryce Matthews called up today by the Astros.
Very good.
That's awesome. Applause to you, Bryce. Go get him. Good luck in the show. And then, Minnie, you probably more capable of answering this question than I.
We'll try.
Husker Nation said, how good is Cincinnati exactly?
Well, let's look at what Phil Steele says.
Oh, crap.
Shall we? I mean, because when I looked at them, they have quite a few returners coming back. They have a good quarterback. Oh, this is not going to be a good thing that I'm looking this up right now. I know. Give me a second.
I mean, at least I was talking to him. I might have been allegedly boring them to tears, but at least I was talking to him.
It was, you weren't boring us to tears. I just kind of thought it was, okay, once you got to 16, I'm like, okay, It's all downhill from here. And it wasn't. It felt like we were still going uphill.
We were till we got to number 13, and then it was all downhill from there.
I felt like, yeah, that was. You got to 16 kind of quick. But then after 16, you just kind of like stalled. Is that fair?
Sure.
Okay, let's see. Cincinnati. Cincinnati.
For the love of God, I thought turkeys could fly.
Okay, here we go. In 2020, Cincy went 9-0 and almost upset Georgia in the Peach Bowl. In 2021, I said the Bearcats had a good shot at being the first ever Group of 5 team to make the playoff, and they did not let me down. Cincy rose to number 2 AP, previous high number 4 in 2009. At 13-0, they lost to Bama in the playoff and finished number 4 AP. In 22, all signs pointed down, and they dipped to 9-4. In Satterfield's first year, here they had just 8 starters returned. They had negative 48 all-conference points and were in the going down box of my tougher schedules. I picked them last in the Big 12, and in a rebuilding year, they were 1-8 in the Big 12 play, last place, and 3-9 overall, their worst record since 1999. They led 4 Big 12 foes at half, but lost due to a lack of depth. Satterfield had a stronger, much deeper team with an SMI of +8, had 3 net losses, close losses. All my indicators were pointing up. The exact opposite of 23. I saw the Bearcats going from 3-9 to a bowl, so they made my most improved list. This is where it gets sticky. Cincy blew a 21-point 2H lead versus Pitt, but opened 5-2 with a win over eventual Big 12 champs Arizona State. Cincy had a 24-10 FD edge versus West Virginia, but allowed 2 defensive touchdowns and needing just 1 win for a bowl, lost the last 5 for a disappointing 5-7 season. The Bearcats' major problem was the last 2 minutes of the 1H in their games. What does 1H mean?
I don't know.
Thanks, Kaylee. I just look up to see that on the screen. Never mind. I was just answering. You guys want the rest? You're going to have to read it yourself.
Go buy Phil Steele's book, Barnes Noble or wherever. Find football-related books.
They're supposed to be pretty good. There you go.
Not as good as us. So keep that in mind.
I hope not.
Fred says, now Minnie reading the phone book to us. My dogs are crying.
That is so not nice.
Wah, 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 wah.
Roger, I thought we were friends.
All right. Minnie, should we send these good folks home?
Yes, apparently. I was trying to be helpful. This is the last time I try and be helpful. I didn't know Phil Steele's going to give us the whole history of Cincinnati. Okay. I just went to, this is what I was reading to you guys. This is
gosh, you need to go back to the book.
I was reading the part under 2025, what to expect. That's what he put. Okay. Blame him for being wordy. And Greg.
That's right. I take the blame. Kaylee says, I thought the 25 thing was a joke. Then you said number 25, and at that point we all knew. Yeah, I wasn't messing around with the list tonight. So living in Omaha, David Matney, the official realtor of the 5 Heart podcast, says what was funny is the comments while she was reading. Yeah, the problem is she actually goes back and watches the show.
Yeah, you guys know that
So she's going to see all the faces that I was making, and I'm in trouble. So, which is a great time for me to remind all of you that we're not going to have a show next week because I'm going to be in Dallas for work. And Minnie doesn't want to put up with you 2 nights in a row by her, or 2 weeks in, 2 nights in the week by herself. So
that's not true. We never even discussed it. It's just
other things, life. So,
I would put up with you guys, just so you know. I would. I try and include them.
I'm sorry, Pitt. I have to be there. It'll be a pretty whirlwind trip. I'll get down there on Wednesday and be back here Friday evening. So, but the downside is that what I do is I miss Thursday night with all of you. Hopeful news is that I'll be drinking for free this time next week. So somebody's going to pick up that tab, right? That didn't sound. No internet. It's not that there's not any internet in Dallas. It's that there's kind of an expectation to. We say, you learn so much at the conference hours from like 9 to 4, but you learn a lot more at the bar after hours. So that's what I'm hoping is to learn more at the bar or drink a lot at the bar. But regardless, I'll be at the bar.
He's going to be at a bar instead of being with us, is what he's trying to tell us. And that's fine. I'm going to be going on a road trip the very next day. So I need to not be at a bar or here drinking Walgreens wine.
Yeah, everybody needs to be well rested because we're getting so much closer. It is 49 days, this many weeks until, that's the math, until Nebraska versus Cincinnati.
Okay.
I can support your hotel bars. I mean, it's going to be what you got.
It gets kind of X-rated at a certain time here on the 5 Heart. I don't want to know what you're doing at a hotel bar with a bunch of guys.
Learning, sharing ideas, and hopefully becoming better men.
Okay.
Kelly! I don't know. My head's not that big, is it?
It is. Especially when you lean forward.
Fine, let me lean back. All right, everybody, this is me. I'm Greg. I'm all the way back here. Have a great one. We'll see you next time on the 5 Heart Pot. No, that's not how we do this. All right, everybody, we thank you, honestly, for spending the last couple of hours with us. A lot of times just being read to. And that's okay because now that the show's over, you can go back to the last 40 minutes. You can put it on. It's like a bedtime story. You get the top 25 college football rivalry names. You get a little Phil Steele. You get put to sleep with your friends from the 5 Heart. Everybody goes to bed happy. And that's all we really want.
It's been a night. We said there was not going to be any singing or dancing or 5 Heart Theater, and there was all of that. It has been a heck of a night.
You're welcome, crazy bastards. All right, so with all that being said, for my great friend Minnie Hunt, I'm Greg Mahachko. This is the 5 Heart Podcast. We remind you each and every week that 5 Heart is all the heart you need. Minnie?
And go Big Red.
What she said. I'll see you in 2 weeks.